Buying, selling or renting real estate in the Whitsundays? You need the team that will provide you with help, experience and results. Ray White Whitsunday sales team has over 100 years experience in local real estate, which is why Ray White Whitsunday sells more real estate than anyone else. Whether it's residential sales, commercial leasing, marine or rural sales, Ray White Whitsunday have the solution. So contact Ray White Whitsunday today and get the results you deserve.
It's 8:30, time for our weekly real estate market report, thanks to Ray White Whitsunday. And this morning we're talking to the principal of Ray White Whitsunday, Mark Beale. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Tom. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome, mate. I thought this morning we might have a chat about the luxury or high end of the market. How's that sector of the market performing?
It's actually performing really well. There's certainly a lot of people that still want to move here either now or down the track, so they're securing that ocean view property, and that's the dream, really. If it doesn't have the ocean view for mostly Sydney, Melbourne people, right? The reason why they want to live here is because they can sit on their balcony and look at the ocean view. So when you look at the number of sales actually dropped, but that's not for lack of demand. That's really for a lack of supply. Last year, if you look at January to September last year, there were last year there was 21 sales of houses above $1 million, and this year in the same period there's only 8 or 9, around about that sort of figure. We're lucky enough to sell most of them, which is great, but most of these houses, 90% of them have the ocean views, and that's what people want.
So where are the buyers for those properties coming from?
Most of these buyers are coming from the southern markets. It's Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. There's a percentage of the local people that are upgrading, or the kids have left home and they're out on the acreage and they want to move into Airlie Beach to be on a smaller property with less maintenance and all that sort of stuff. So that seems to be quite popular these days.
Those buyers from down south, are they primarily people who are purchasing properties for cash or near cash? Yeah,
a lot of them are cash buyers. They've sold their property in Sydney, for example, for 1.8, which is a bottom end property, unfortunately for us down there. But they come up here, they'd spend 1.2 on a house, spend 300 on the boat, and still got some money left over and enjoy the Whitsundays, or a lot of them are holiday letting it in the meantime, and then with the view to coming up in 2 or 3 years' time. So they might be using equity in their homes to purchase. So those people are also purchasing apartments. So those figures I was telling you before were houses. So the apartments has also, the number of sales has dropped as well, but there are still quite a few of those units above $1 million settling. There's the Peninsula Apartments is a really good example. There's been a few sales in there in the last few months. I still think they're really good value. The last couple of sales have been around the $1.5 million, which, mind you, is what they sold for off the plan in 2005 when I was selling them then. So they've gone up in price, and then they've come down in price, and they were selling as low as $650,000, $700,000, right, for these units, which is just ridiculously cheap. And some people were lucky enough to buy. So those same apartments now are pretty close to 1.5 million, around that sort of price. A penthouse just sold at Marina Shores for 1.7. That's over 400 square metres, big rooftop. And that's really good buying when you work it out on a per square metre base. If you were to sell that off the plan these days, so some of these Peninsula Apartments, they would be well over $2 million. So they're well below replacement costs. And I think these people from down south who sell their 1-bedroom 50 square metre studio in Bondi for $2.5 million are coming up here and going, oh, look what we get for 1.5.
Yes.
And that's underpinning that luxury market really well. And then the holiday letting, if they choose to do that, is well and truly paying for it. Some of our owners in our holiday letting pool are netting well over $150,000 a year after expenses, which is a really good income.
Now, you sort of touched on it a little bit there. You and I both remember the first house that sold in Airlie Beach for over $1 million. It seems quite common today, particularly those with a sea view. But what drove those prices up?
It's really the demand. Obviously, there has been a big lack of supply of these properties in Airlie Beach in the last few years, and when you look at the median prices, the median price of Airlie Beach has come back 5% the last 12 months, but that's because the number of sales the previous year were 29, and then now there's only 10 or 11 in the last 12 months, but that's because of people are not selling. So the figures aren't particularly accurate. The lower the number of sales, the median price is not as easy to ascertain. But they are selling really well, and they're quite popular, and the replacement value, the building costs are contributing towards that. People buy a block for 600, think that they can build a house for 1.2, get the price from the builder at 1.8 to 2 million, and they go, well, let's go and buy something that's already existing. We'll spend 200 or 300 on it and make it what we want. So that's underpinning those second-hand home sales quite nicely. We sold one in Airlie Crescent recently. Fiona Denellen from my office sold one just recently for over 2 million, which is a record price for the street. And it's one of the best located houses in the street. It's an older house. It's done up, not to the tens, but it has been renovated quite nicely. And the buyers saw great value in that at over 2 million. And, I think that trend will continue.
Are we reaping the rewards of what some would say overinflated prices in places like Melbourne and Sydney?
Yeah, definitely. They see great value for money here. So that definitely is helping regional Queensland in particular. And COVID has been wonderful for the real estate market in those regional areas, because people are getting out, and we talk to people all the time, Victorians in particular, that want to get out of Victoria because of, well, the instability of the politicians down there is one thing, but they want to come up to the nicer weather, and they love boating, and they want to have the boat, so they're securing their properties for down the track. But yeah, they do see really good value. It is very cheap here in regional Queensland areas. The Proserpine median price at the moment is $380 for a house. Yeah, you couldn't get an apartment in Sydney or Melbourne for double that. So people are seeing really good value. Those prices in Proserpine last 12 months have gone up about 6%. So it was $359 the previous 12 months. Jubilee Pocket has gone up 10% in the last 12 months. Cannavale's the big winner, 14% increase in the last 12 months. Anyone who owned a house in Cannavale 2 years ago has made $200,000 profit, tax-free profit, if they live in it, on their house, if they choose to sell, which is, reminds me of the pre-GFC days. But I think it's different now because of the building costs are underpinning all of those sale prices quite nicely. You can't build a brand new house for what the median price is. So those median prices for the second-hand ones, I believe, should stay reasonably stable.
Quite a contrast to, say, 20 years ago when building a house was much cheaper than buying a house.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't feel that long ago, but Cliffy Hill was building those colony homes, and Raoul Daniels was as well. $200,000 you could build a house, a 4-bedroom house. $1,300 a square metre. I believe the rate these days, the starting rate's about $2,300 a square metre for a house. So, 200 square metre house, you're talking over $450. Then you've got driveways, air conditioners, pools, sheds, whatever, $250 for the land. You're at $700, $800, $900 pretty quick. And that's why people think these houses in Abel Road and Parker Road, those sorts of areas, neighbourhood areas, for $850, you get one already built with a pool. Really underpinning the value there.
All right, Mark, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy your Thursday.
My pleasure.
IslandFM.